This is how to piss off Asian people. Assume they're foreign. There's no way that an Asian person could just be a Canadian, even if they have a Canadian accent and speak English fluently.
Is this seat taken?
Yeah, sure, Steven. Feel free.
So, Sonia, what are you?
Steven, I'm human.
Yeah, I'm human as well, but, where are you from?
I'm from Toronto.
Okay, where are you from?
You mean before I was from Toronto?
Yeah.
I'm from my mother's womb.
Impress us with half-baked attempts at Asian languages. Relentlessly use different Asian words from different Asian languages on all Asians indiscriminately, despite never having been to any of those Asian countries.
Hey Sonia, ni hao.
Yeah, so ni hao is actually Mandarin and I don't speak that.
Oh, I thought it was Chinese.
Hey, Sonia. Ni hao. How you doing?
Actually, Steven, I don't speak Mandarin.
Oh, really?
Hey, Kayla, how's it going?
Hey, ni hao, Sonia.
Yeah, so actually, ni hao is Mandarin and I don't speak Mandarin.
Oh, true.
Racism is usually understood as prejudice or discrimination against a member of a minority group based upon their race. I think sometimes that can be oversimplified, and so people will understand racism as an act of explicit discrimination. So perhaps an act of violence, or understanding it as depriving somebody of a job opportunity. But I think generally we see racism as something broader. So it can involve attitudes, it can involve assumptions about people that you may not voice, but that you believe, again, based on their race. The other definition that may be important in relation to racism is the notion of racialization. And so racialization is really the way in which we essentially think about people primarily in terms of their race, rather than any other defining characteristic.
Bye, Patty. Bye, Esther. Bye, overzealous Asian kids lining up to...
No, but when you've just a little boy had a pee-pee the size of an egg.
Tell us that we're all the same. Ignore the fact that Asia is comprised of many different countries and cultures. We're all just Chinese anyway. Oh, and countries and borders are just a social construct. Except for the American ones, all two of them.
Are you Korean?
Actually, I'm Chinese.
Oh really? Because my best friend's Chinese, so I figured I usually know who's Chinese.
Right, I think I know who's Chinese too, because I'm Chinese.
Well, China and Korea are pretty much the same, right? Same place.
Oh, and definitely fetishize Asian women. They love it when their personhood and individuality are overlooked for their sexualized stereotypes.
What, aren't you Japanese?
No, I'm actually Chinese.
Oh, even better.
Hi, 어렸을 때 Austin Powers very sexy puru. Amazing, you're very great.
Cassandra, I've got something I want to say to you.
Excuse me, do you like Asian men? No. Thank you.
Implicit bias is something that all of us have. And I think this is difficult for people to grasp sometimes because it's seen as suggesting that everybody is racist or everybody is prejudiced. Implicit bias doesn't really mean that necessarily, but what it means is that unconsciously or consciously, we all have certain frames that we use to construct the world and to construct meaning. And so this may be influenced by our upbringing. It may be influenced by our family, by our teachers, by our friends. And so unconsciously or consciously, we all have certain attitudes, and this will bias us in particular ways. That doesn't necessarily mean it's negative. It just means that we may, when we confront certain situations, automatically lean towards certain conclusions because of that implicit attitude that we carry with us. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to mean that you're prejudiced because you have that implicit bias. Everyone has implicit bias. But I think that's something that we don't always consciously acknowledge. I mean, nobody has the ability, I think, to filter out these influences that form our opinions. So, I think for many years there was a sense that people are capable of being objective about things, that you can understand what prejudices are and you can understand what bias is and that you can filter all of this out. But I think more and more, most of us would acknowledge that that's a very difficult thing to do. It's very difficult to filter out the voices that have formed us in whatever way we've been formed. And again, this is something that happens to everyone. So there are different things that will make us the people that we are, and this will have an impact on how we view the world. And there's nothing wrong with having implicit bias.
Welcome to Playtime, your pre-show entertainment experience. Open up the Playtime app on your smartphone for a chance to meet an Asian Academy Award-winning actress. Play till the end to find out who it is.
That most North American media, as far as I know, don't distinguish between East Asians and most other kinds of Asians. So that's one of the problems right there. But I would say, generally speaking, I think there are many stereotypes of Asians as, well, first of all, I think there's an underrepresentation in the first place. And I think this ties into a notion that Asians are passive, that they're smart, they sometimes play the nerd characters, the hardworking ones. And I think often there's a sense that Asians are necessarily foreign.
Anybody old Chinese, no English.
Then they should go back to China.
All the Asian people that live in all the apartments around me, their moms and their brothers and their sisters and their grandmas and their grandpas and their cousins and everybody that they know that they brought along from Asia with them.
Fuck you! Go back to Asia! Go back to Asia!
Go back to your show. Buy their groceries
Trump,
and cook their food for them.
you guys.
I'm Russell.
My name is Asia.
Grant.
Hey guys, I'm John.
Jojo.
My name is Damien.
I'm Canadian.
I am a Canadian. Canadian.
Microaggressions are really everyday acts of possibly prejudice or ways of slighting people who belong to a marginalized community. Now, often what some of us see as microaggressions might not be seen as problematic by others. They may feel they're engaging in innocent questioning or an innocent comment. But because there's a kind of context around the comment or the action, this is why we would label it a microaggression. So an example I might give is if you are to ask a Canadian student who is of some kind of minority background where they're really from, or ask what they are, or ask if they're really Canadian, the questioner might not see that as in any way problematic. They may just feel that they're entitled to ask this because the person looks different and therefore they have a right to ask for more information, or that they're simply curious and they may express themselves. But the person who's being questioned may see this as a microaggression, may see it as an act of hostility, or may see it as an insult, or may see it as in some way degrading them as somebody who is not Canadian, or as somebody who doesn't belong to the society.
Tell us we're smart. But do not under any circumstance tell us that we're good at anything else. I mean, Asians being good at anything other than science or math? That's ludicrous.
Shoot, pass us a view soon.
You're right. I need to file mine too.
Sweet. Do you want to do mine too while you're at it? You're Chinese, so you're probably really good at math, right?
I'm kind of average at math. I'm not that great.
You're okay at math? That means you're a bad Asian, right?
I guess.
If you're ever going to talk about race politics with an Asian person, please, for the love of God, only ever mention black and white relations. It's not like Asians ever experience racism or anything, right? Here's a side note. A lot of Asian Canadians care very deeply about the state of race relations in North America. A lot of the existing discourse surrounds black and white relations, and not that much about Asian relations. Black Lives Matter, we are 100% behind you. You guys do such important work, and we support that. I do think there is more room to talk about Asian relations, though.
Dry day on Wednesday with sunny periods. However, there may be more cloud in the southeast where it will be breezier. After a chilly start, it will be mostly dry on Thursday with some sunny spells. However, it may be rather cloudy in the southeast. Patchy rain will arrive in the north later in the day. On FM, on long wave, on digital radio and online, this is BBC Radio 4.
It's 10 o'clock. Good evening. This is The World Tonight with Ritula Shah. Ed Miliband's ruled out a coalition with the Scottish Nationalists if there's a hung parliament.